why do we need Emet? See, I wasn't always religious. I came to America as a regular traditional Bukharian boy, 6 years old about when I came. And I didn't know anything. Apparently my great-grandfather, who I'm named after, was a rabbi. But when the Soviet Union came in, it destroyed all of Judaism as we knew it till then. We had our great-grandparents who were all religious. Everybody's got a bobo or babula or something that was a Kabbalist or whatever, a rabbi. But our parents never had that chance to be religious. And we came up not really knowing anything. I went through public school, went to the same high school as you guys went to, Forest Hills High, born and bred. DJ Alex, you also went to Forest Hills High? Oh yeah, it was good times, huh? I'm just joking. So...
He's not joking.
Cut his mic.
But I actually learned Hebrew in Forest Hills High School.
I didn't. I learned Spanish.
Miss Harris.
Miss Harris, God bless her. You know, I learned, God bless them for that. So.
I actually took Spanish. I didn't even get that chance. I grew up really knowing not much about my Jewish heritage, and I actually met Emet, believe it or not, when I was my senior year in high school, not in college yet. And Emet actually took me, I was already starting to get a little bit of interest in Judaism, and Emet took me on some phenomenal Shabbatons where I got to experience Judaism firsthand, and I realized that this is something that I really, really wanted in my own life. I wanted to bring up a family like that. I wanted those values to be part of me, and that's why I chose this path where I now get to show guys like you, Danny, guys like you, Jacob, what I experienced as an Emet student 16 years ago. And right now, the Bukharian community is at a crossroads where at a point already that if Bukharians today, the Bukharian youth growing up, don't have some sort of an introduction to Judaism, a showing of what Jewish lifestyle is, we're going to get to a point where, just like in the American melting pot, you have Jews that came here in the 1920s, 1930s from Europe. They became assimilated. You can't even tell them apart. Right now, you can tell a Bukharian Jew. In 20 years down the line, Bukharians, you're not going to be able to tell anymore. And that's it. The sad part will be the fact that you have Jewish youth growing up that really just aren't Jewish anymore. The lines are unfortunately over. And that's why in Emet we have hundreds of students coming through the door every single year, guys like yourselves that are introduced to Judaism. And you know what? Why don't you guys tell me about your experience in Emet and how you grew up and where you are now and how Emet was a part of that. Jacob, you want to start off?
So one of the most important things about Emet is the fact that they create such an environment where you come in and they instantly accept you. Rabbi Rudenberg asked, where would we be without Emet? I think the world would be worse off, because I know so many students who don't know much, who didn't know much about Judaism. I went to St. John's University, and I was part of JSA. Personally, I know so many students who didn't know much, but as soon as they attended JSA and Emet, they got to connect with the Jewish roots, and they got to see what Judaism is all about. Personally, Emet was responsible for sending me to yeshiva for 2 summers in a row. Right after high school, I remember you, and I went to see Rabbi Rudenberg, and you guys were telling me, oh, you have to go, it's a whole different experience. And I was a little bit resistant, but then I went to study, and it's a whole different experience. The connections you make, the memories you make. And if you think about it, the Emet staff and rabbis, they're doing it for the people. They're not getting much out of it. Like, what did Emet get out of sending me to Israel? You know? It was me that benefited. So I'm always grateful for that fact. And I believe that without Emet, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Beautifully said. Thank you, Jacob. It's funny, you mentioned that the yeshiva experience. you remember also the Arizona experience that you actually and Danny both went on separate years? The Arizona trip that Emet has is there to have two interesting goals. One, we spend half the day over there in the mornings learning Gemara, introducing the guys to what Talmud is, what the blood lifeline of the Jewish people has been, introducing them. Almost everybody there has never experienced Talmud, and it's their first amazing experience. And the second experience, interestingly enough, the second goal is we get to, on a trip with guys for 7 days, going to sleep with them at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, if you guys actually did go to sleep, and waking up with them at 7 o'clock in the morning, you
3
get...
o'clock in the morning.
That's only when our phones go off on an alarm. Thank you, Danny. Inside joke for those people that are watching who went on that trip.
Sorry.
Waking up with them, you bond with them so much that afterwards, Danny, after that trip, as much learning as we had and as much Jewish growth as we had, the personal experience, the personal relationship that you and I developed afterwards, and all of the aftermath, the amount of just bonding we had afterwards, how you were able to open up to me, how I was able to help you in any way that you requested, it was incredible.
It's irreplaceable.
It was irreplaceable. And it's funny, you were saying, what did we get out of it? I'll tell you, I planned that trip for at least 4 to 5 weeks. And
I remember you got so sick afterwards.
Oh,
so much stress.
man, I wasn't sick afterwards. I got sick on the trip.
I was squirting.
Social distance.
And interestingly enough, it was my family had to deal with it also, me being sick and everything. It was just, what do we get out of it? I enjoy making these connections so that I can give over what I experienced in my rich Jewish heritage to you guys and seeing how you guys enjoy it afterwards. Danny, what has Emet done for you? What do you feel? What do you want to share?
See, this is such a difficult question because I don't know where to start. What I could say is basically, Emet is not something that's tangible. It's not a person, place, or thing. It's not a house. It's a home. It's not a group of people. It's a family. And something that I can really talk about, I want to start at a story. Can you guys hear me from home? Okay. So a personal little idiom or parable I could say is, a son asked his father, "Father, how big is Hashem?" And the father said, you see that airplane in the sky? How big is it? And the son goes, well, it's pretty small. And then he takes his son to an airplane hangar, and at the airplane hangar he says, well, son, how big is this airplane? And the son answers to him, well, it's huge. And he says, the size of Hashem is relative to your distance to him. Now, Rabbi, when I first came to you in 2017, I believe, my distance to Hashem was just too far. It was miles apart, many, many miles. And I'll put it this way. I started public school for elementary school, public school for middle school, public school for high school, public school for college. Nowhere there did I have a Jewish experience. And I feel as though the moment that I came to Emet was where I was able to discover that incredible closeness that I have to Hashem. Rabbi, can you answer this? How many conversations have me and you had in just the last week alone?
Let me check my phone. Hold on.
I call him every single day with regards to my problems, with regards to my situations. And it's funny, you actually told me this, and I can only credit you for this because nobody else told me this. If you see everything falling apart in your life, or you have problem after problem after problem, there's one trick to be immortal, to be invincible. And the trick is look up at Hashem and say, I know this is from you. I know this is from you, and keep praying. You taught me that. And I could go over it for lessons and lessons of all the possible things that I've learned from Emet and from you and from the close connections that I made with you and my entire friend community. We still talk about Emet every single day on the trip. We have a group chat, we have a Snapchat group chat, and all of that is because of you. And when I point to you, I point to Emet. And that's exactly what I wanted to talk about with regards to my experience with Emet. And to be honest, Rabbi Rutenberg asked, what is your future for Emet? My future is that every single person that joins Emet gets that same exact experience that I got. And thank you for listening.
Guys, it was beautifully said. I have to say one thing. As much as you guys gain from Emet, Emet gains from you, because these relationships that we make, it really, anytime any one of us in the Emet staff is having like a bad day, all we have to think about is like, wow, pick up a phone, have a conversation with you guys, and knowing that you guys are growing with us and we're helping you out is such a, what you would say, what you would call nachas. It's such a uplifting feeling that like that Emet's making a difference. Emet's there for guys and girls that are trying to find themselves, that are trying to grow spiritually, have a spiritual connection to Hashem. And even during these times of the challenging times that we're in, Emet didn't stop. You know, we had, I don't know how many programs every single day of the week before March, and even after March, tremendous amount of programs where we're connecting to our students. We didn't let that go. We didn't let this pandemic stop us. Rabbi Rudenberg, any other questions you have for the guys?
You're amazing.
Oh, thank you, Rabbi Rudenberg, for being here with us. Rabbi Rudenberg, by the way, I've known him for at least 16 years. Rabbi Rudenberg, the only thing comes to mind when I think of Rabbi Rudenberg is he's all there. He's there for the Jewish nation. He is, Baruch Hashem, an incredible leader. May Hashem give you many years of strength to help lead the Jewish people.